Hello everyone. So I made a video about 2 months ago now about Little Big Planet and the possibility of us getting another entry in the franchise. If you're interested in that video, I would check that video out. But today, I'm making a follow-up video of sorts because a few things have happened over the past month or two regarding Little Big Planet that I feel like I have to talk about, especially after the last video. So let's get the biggest thing out of the way. Yes, the servers for LBP have been completely shut down, but it's not quite as doom and gloom as it sounds necessarily. See, you can actually still play LBP online despite the shutdown. I'm not going to get into the whole process of how to do that in this video, but if that does interest you and you're wondering how that's possible, I recommend checking out Blazing Victini's video on that, which I will link in the description. So if you've been keeping up with all this, you'll have heard that Media Molecule, the original creators of Little Big Planet, are working on a new IP. This comes from PlayStation's career advertisement page for Media Molecule, and it says under key responsibilities, partner closely with the wider programming team to define a champion technical requirements and standards for MM's new IP. So that pretty much confirms that Media Molecule is not working on Little Big Planet, at least not as their next game. And I'm not so sure that they're a big enough studio to work on 2 or more projects. I doubt it, but I really wouldn't know. So it could be that Sumo Digital is working on it, but that could also be just wishful thinking, you know? Alright, so why did I say this isn't as doom and gloom as it seems? Well, I will get into that right now. So you need a little bit of background for this to make sense. So back in, I think, February, Sony was doing some layoffs. Some is actually an understatement. And they ended up shutting down a studio called London Studio. They created a bunch of games that you've frankly probably never even heard of, but that's not the point. I promise this will circle back to Little Big Planet in a minute. So Sony was putting the least profitable studios under them on the chopping block, and apparently word got out that Media Molecule was actually being considered to be shut down. Media Molecule hasn't had much success outside of Little Big Planet, and that's just an unfortunate fact. Tearaway and Dreams were not profitable games. I'm not saying they're bad, that's just the truth. So Media Molecule is now in a position where they really have to kick it into high gear and start being profitable, or at least profitable enough for Sony's standards. And to me, a new IP just doesn't sound like the move at all to make that a reality. I say that because they've tried it twice now, and it simply didn't do anywhere near the numbers that Little Big Planet was pulling in. And so it just doesn't make much sense to me for them to not just play it safe and do another Little Big Planet game. It's by far their most profitable IP, and they're kind of in hot water right now, it seems like. What sense does it make for them to not just do an LBP game? I mean, these are people's jobs and livelihood that's possibly on the line here, and that's not okay. And as a business, you have to do everything you can to stay afloat. If push comes to shove, at least in the gaming space, you are better off just doing what worked in the past, because like I said, it's far riskier to not do that. And yes, I know the career page literally says they are doing a new IP and not Little Big Planet, but the thing is, I don't know how far in development that game is, but they somewhat recently stopped supporting Dreams, and between that announcement and the discovering of that career page, that really isn't much time in between those two events. I'm not claiming to know how long they've been working on a new IP, but I'm just saying, if that's anything to go by, which it might not be, maybe this project is early enough to either 1, put it on the back burner to revisit, or 2, just cancel it entirely and then start development on the safer option, that being Little Big Planet. Yes, I know that's a lot of assumptions and a lot of guessing and wishful thinking, but I don't think it's impossible. So there's another important part to this that I failed to mention up until this point, which is that the resource server for Little Big Planet is actually still up to this day. I just checked it recently, and from my understanding, the resource server is what stores all the levels and level data from the game. We can see this from the LBP Union site, which I do believe is accurate. So the main server is in fact down, but why leave the resource server up at all if they didn't plan on doing something with it in the future? Kind of doesn't make sense to me. It's possible this will go down in the coming months, or maybe even sooner, but if it didn't go down when the main server shut down, then why wouldn't this go down at the same time? And again, it could very well be Sumo Digital that handles a theoretic Little Big Planet 4, but I'm just here to say it makes way more sense for Media Molecule to do it in this current moment, in my opinion. One possibility to think about, though, is that Sumo is working on Little Big Planet 4, and so Media Molecule can't work on Little Big Planet 4 because it's out of their hands, so to speak. Meaning in that case that Media Molecule is in even more hot water, because then they don't have their main moneymaker, Little Big Planet, to fall back on, and that would be scary, because if that's the case, I can't say I have much hope that their new IP could pull good enough numbers to appease Sony. So yeah, I see everyone, saying their goodbyes and saying rest in peace LBP and shit like that, and that's all understandable, but I personally don't think we can say with 100% certainty that LBP is dead. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.